I am with the prosecution on this one. Just because I'm a criminal defense attorney doesn't mean I'm going to take a criminal defense attorney's side 100 times out of 100.
Charlie knew people on both sides of the tracks, that he hung out with professionals, dentists, doctors, etc. But he also knew a social context that were in the criminal element.
He started dating Katie because he wanted access to those connections.
What were your interactions with Donna Adelson like?
I think Donna did it. I think Donna's guilty. Must follow the law. The law says...
Glorious. Is it a lawsuit? Probably. Why not?
Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Buckle Up. It's the Law with Attorney Larry Forman. Folks, today we're going to continue with the Donna Adelson trial. We've done the openings from both sides, and right now we are going to dive into the most critical witnesses. We're going to cover Jeff, we're going to cover Wendy, and we're going to cover Katie over the next 4 days. So folks, buckle up because it's going to be a wild, wild ride. These are the biggest players. These are the witnesses who are the most critical in the trial. I'm going to try and get back to the previous witnesses if we have time, but folks, I'm going for the meat and potatoes. We are going to skip the appetizers. We're going to skip the dessert. We're going straight to the main course. So buckle up because it's going to be insane. Also, I just want to make a note that the videos tomorrow and Monday, which is Labor Day here in the United States of America, we're going to have longer videos than you're used to. So I'm trying to get through Wendy's testimony, and it's a long one. And if I break it up into our usual chunks, we're just not going to be able to get through it. So like I said, folks, it's going to be great.
I'm Jeffrey Lacasse, pardon me, Jeffrey Lacasse.
How are you employed?
I'm an associate professor at Florida State University.
How long have you been at FSU?
Since 2013, so 11 years now, 12 years now.
Have you always lived here in Tallahassee?
I was here from 2000 to 2008 pursuing my doctorate, and I went to Arizona State for 5 years, and I came back in the fall of 2013 when all this happened.
Okay. And back in that time frame, did you have a relationship with Wendy Adelson?
I did.
When did that relationship begin?
We started dating in late September of 2013.
Oh, by the way, for the record, he is the ex-boyfriend of Wendy Adelson. I don't know if I mentioned that yet.
The nature of the relationship.
You're about to find out.
At first, it was very casual. We weren't exclusive. After Halloween, things started to accelerate. That's the fall of 2013. And then by late February, early March, we were an exclusive couple.
When did the relationship end?
It's a little tricky, but I would market it around July 14th, 2014.
Around the time of the homicide or shortly before?
Right before, yes.
During the time that you were dating Wendy Adelson, did you become aware of her divorce?
I did.
And the litigation surrounding the divorce and subsequent to the divorce. Were you familiar with that as well?
Yes, it was a constant topic of conversation.
Were you aware that it was an unusually difficult or nasty divorce?
I was.
And during the time...
And for the record, he was a professor in the same place where Danny was teaching back when he was alive. That's important.
Time that you were dating her, were you aware that litigation was still pending during that time frame?
Yes.
Was there a specific item of litigation that was a common topic during the time you were dating Mrs. Adelson?
Well, as far as what she discussed, there were multiple. The relocation motion had just been denied a couple months before we started dating, so that was still very much on Wendy's mind. That came up a lot. Then there were the custody issues with the kids, of course.
Okay. Did you know Dan Markel?
I met him briefly a couple of times.
Was that in the context of you being the new boyfriend and exchange of the kids kind
Exactly.
of thing?
Picking up the kids, swimming lessons one time. Never spoke to him for more than 2 or 3 minutes.
The interaction that you did have with him, were those cordial?
It was polite and cordial.
Did you have any issues with him other than things that Wendy was telling you?
I sort of adopted the Adelson family narrative. I kind of believed what Wendy was telling me. And Wendy and I also had mutual friends from when I was here before, and they had sort of adopted that narrative as well. So I didn't have a personal beef with Dan Markel, but I did believe sort of the Adelson family story about Dan Markel.
Which is that he was making it very difficult for Wendy. He was a difficult person.
Yes.
If you know, did Wendy Adelson want to relocate to South Florida?
Yes, she did, very badly.
And why did she want to relocate to South Florida?
She preferred to be down there with her family. She also hated Tallahassee. That's in my original, police statements. It was almost a daily topic of conversation how much she disliked Tallahassee. So was Bush. She really disliked Tallahassee. She preferred to be in Miami. On our second date, she broke into tears talking about relocation and abruptly ended the date. I mean, it was still very visceral, very important to her.
All right, and that was shortly after the relocation had been denied, is that
Yeah,
right?
that would have been last week of September, so a couple months after it was fresh then, yeah.
Okay, and were you specifically familiar during that time with the litigation seeking to limit Donna Adelson's exposure to the kids, or to have her be supervised in the presence of the kids because Dan was alleging that she had made disparaging remarks about him to the children?
Yes, I was aware of that.
How did you become aware of that?
Multiple ways. Wendy talking about it. And it's hard to remember which exact emails and motions I was forwarded, but definitely Wendy's talking about it for sure, and perhaps I was sent court materials.
Okay, were you also shown things in her presence?
Yes.
All right, and if you know, did Wendy take that particular filing seriously? Was she upset about that or worried about that?
Yes, every time there was a motion, they took it very seriously, and I'd reported to the police that it was disruptive on the relationship because every time something was filed, dates would get canceled, Wendy would be in a mood, Wendy would be upset, so.
When you say they took it seriously, who are you referencing?
The entire family, but Wendy was the person I was having contact with. But it was known to me that the whole family was upset.
Okay, and how do you deduce that it's a they and not just a Wendy? Is she in communication with the family? Is she relaying that to you? How do you know that?
For multiple.
Speculation and opinion.
Overruled. He may testify as to his personal knowledge. You're not to repeat, however, what anyone said out of court, Mr. Coase.
Sure. So conversations with Wendy, which were consistent, and also observing the family dynamic, which was, I described to police as a family without boundaries, that sort of not having just a shared family life than your own.
Stand as to opinion.
All right, so in your observations, let's keep it specific to Donna, if you
Yes.
don't mind. Was Donna Adelson very involved in her daughter's life?
Yes, absolutely.
Was she very involved in her daughter's divorce litigation?
Yes.
And I say divorce, I know the divorce is already final, I'm referencing the subsequent litigation as well.
Yes.
During the time that you were in a relationship with Wendy, did you have the occasion to meet her family?
I did.
When was that?
I met Donna, I met her multiple times, but Wendy had me come over to her house and had me have dinner with Donna in mid-November. So sat down and had dinner with Donna. There's about 6 or 7 other occasions that we met and or interacted. Me picking up Wendy to go on a date, and the parents would be in the living room. We went to a Hanukkah party together. We went to the circus together. Wendy's parents would use Wendy's van to transport the kids, so I would come pick Wendy up from the house to bring her to work because the parents needed the car. I met Charlie in March when I stayed with him, so that's some of the interactions.
All right. And when you met Donna here in Tallahassee, was Harvey always there as well, or would sometimes be
I don't believe
alone?
Harvey was there. I don't believe Harvey was there that time, but he was there other times.
So did it appear to you that Donna was frequently in Tallahassee?
Donna was definitely frequently in Tallahassee between September and early May. After that, I'm not aware of her being in Tallahassee. Well, I think she was in Tallahassee quickly once or twice after that, but in terms of extended trips, there's an awful lot of moms here for a while going on between September and late April, early May.
And when Donna was here in town staying with Wendy, what was the purpose of the visits, if you know?
I think multiple purposes. The children was what almost everything revolved around, so spending time with the kids would be the main purpose that I was aware of.
All right. And you said you met Charlie. Where did you meet him?
Wendy and I went to alternative spring break in Immokalee, Florida for spring break 2014. After we were done with that field trip of sorts, we went to stay with Charlie at his house for one night. So I spent one evening with Charlie Adelson.
All right. And did you interact at all with Donna and or Harvey on that trip?
No, they didn't attend. We didn't go there.
Did you ever spend time with Donna Adelson in South Florida?
No.
All right. So the only times you met her were here in Tallahassee.
That's correct.
What were your interactions with Donna Adelson like?
Just a few that I recall. Sometimes they were really quick because I was just picking Wendy up. When we had dinner, we talked for maybe 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes, but it was pretty quick and just getting to know the girl who I'm interested in, her mom, so it's just that kind of thing. She excused herself from the table after like maybe 10, 12 minutes, something like that. And so
Was that a conversation where it was just the two of you seated at the table?
it was Wendy, myself, and Donna.
Okay.
Just a getting to know you type thing. Just
Okay.
ended fairly quickly.
What about Catherine Magbanua? Did you ever have an occasion to meet her?
I did. She was at the dinner at Yardbird that myself, Wendy Adelson, Katie, and Charlie were at.
All
Yeah,
right, and that was the night that you spent in South Florida where you met Charlie.
correct.
Was that the only time you ever met Charlie?
Only time I ever met Charlie.
Okay. And do you know the date of that visit?
I believe that's March 11th, 2014.
And how was Catherine Magbanua related to the Adelson family?
She was Charlie's new girlfriend at that dinner, is how I knew her.
Was it your impression or knowledge that this was the first meeting between Wendy Adelson and Catherine Magbanua?
That was my impression. There was a lot of getting to know you talk type stuff.
All right. At the dinner table, did the subject of Dan Markel come up?
Yeah, I don't remember a lot of specifics, but I think it came up kind of briefly. There was a lot of talk about Wendy's book. I remember that part.
And at the dinner table, did Catherine Magbanua's ex come up at all?
Yes.
Could you tell us about that?
Yeah, that stood out because Katie mentioned that she had her children's father was always getting in trouble with the police and had a violent criminal record. I'm paraphrasing, but it was it sounded like not parking tickets. It sounded pretty bad, and it stuck in my memory for that reason.
What happened after dinner?
We went back to Charlie's house on Well Harbor.
All right. And did Catherine Magbanua go back to Charlie's house as well?
No.
All right. So at that time, it would be just the three of you, Wendy, and
I want to know what drove Charlie to get involved with Katie in the first place. That's what I'm wondering. Why did Charlie and Katie get involved? What was their common denominator? What did they have in common? I can't help but wonder. That's definitely a question that's been sticking out in my mind since opening statements.
And Charlie's then roommate, Dr. Jerome Obed.
And can you describe the residence there?
Yeah, I thought it was a nice house. Had a hot tub, had a pool.
Did you get in the hot tub that night?
We did get in the hot tub for a while.
Who all was in the hot tub?
Myself, Charlie, Wendy, and Dr. Obed at some points. And people were in and out, but those were the four that were in the hot tub.
And during that time, did Charlie Adelson make some comments against Dan Markel?
Yes, he didn't like Danny. That might be understating it. Yeah.
Is that the most you can remember? Was the gist was that he didn't like him?
I'm not downloading that exact quote at this moment. I remember he was fired up. It wasn't just like I don't like Danny. It was maybe a overprotective brother, anger sort of vibe to it.
Okay. And did he make some other comment about wrong side of the tracks or something?
Yeah. He's kind of.
Your Honor, hearsay?
Please approach.
So the issue there is because Jeff was about to testify about something that Charlie said specifically that evening. That is an out-of-court statement made by somebody else. And that's hearsay. Hearsay. Hearsay is inadmissible. There are some exceptions to the hearsay rule, but as a general rule, hearsay is not admissible. So that's why the defense objected. Let's see how the judge ruled.
Is overruled. You may continue with your line of inquiry, Ms. Kappelman.
Sir, do you remember the statement that I was referencing?
Yes, I do. There was a couple of statements in the hot tub.
Maybe a statement against interest would be admissible.
One was about the fact that Charlie knew people on both sides of the tracks, that he hung out with professionals, dentists, doctors, etc. But he also knew, was familiar, had social contacts that were in the criminal element. And he's kind of bragging, and he kind of specifically mentioned Cuban neighborhoods as a place where you would find that criminal element.
Oh, well, there's my answer. He started dating Katie because he wanted access to those connections. There's your answer. I think we got it. Easy.
I want to ask you about an incident involving, I think the context is assessing Wendy's oldest child for gifted placement. Do you
Yes.
know where I'm going with that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, can you tell the jury, please?
Wendy was looking to get her older son tested to see if he was gifted, to get him placed in school. This is spring 2014. And I was trying to put her in touch with some people that could do that. And we were talking about that, and she asked me when children develop autobiographical memory.
Is your training or profession such that you have some knowledge that you could offer on that topic?
Your Honor, he's not been disclosed as an expert.
Stand only to establish a foundation as to why this testimony could be given by this individual, Ms. Kappelman.
I'm not offering it for its truth, Judge. It goes to Ms. Adelson's state of mind and motive.
Very well. As to that purpose, I will permit it. However, as to that limited issue only, can this be considered by the jury?
So, you're not an expert on children's autobiographical memories, are you?
Not really. That's in some of the textbooks I teach out of, but I think I can keep it out of the scientific realm and explain it commonsensically, which is how I responded to Wendy. Children at age 2 have amnesia, which most parents probably realize. Between 3 and 4, kids start to develop the ability to retain memories.
Jeff, this is expert testimony.
As to a specific thing that goes to the state of mind of the individual you are testifying about, Mr. Lacoste, you may speak. As to your knowledge of any literature or research on this matter, I do not need you to testify on that matter.
What is your profession? What is your background?
I'm a professor of social work. I teach mental health courses.
Okay. So, Wendy asks you what?
She asked me when kids develop memory. At what age will kids start to remember what happened to them when they were a kid?
And what was your answer?
I think I said 5 or 6.
Again, this is expert testimony.
Overruled, Mr. Zalman, sit down. You may testify concerning
He's already
not
ruled
the
on
truth
that.
of the matter asserted, but how this affected the state of mind.
Your Honor, this has not been disclosed to the defense.
Please approach. Ms. Kappelman, did you find the information that you were seeking to
Yes,
elicit?
sir. I'm sorry I didn't have an answer for you. The case has had so many incarnations, it's hard for me to remember who knows what, but I am conceding the violation, certainly not intentional. I did not find it. Mr. Rashbaum did not depose this witness, so I'll move on.
Well, there's a defense requesting from the court to conduct a Richardson hearing.
It's not intentional. I would concede that. There are a lot of materials in here.
Okay, hold on. So it sounds like Jeffrey was testifying about expert witness type matters. The testimony he was providing, which I think is so innocuous, is so tangential. I'm not exactly sure if it really at all affects the course of the trial. But the defense has made an objection, and now they are trying to push the court for something more. We're about to find out what it is. And the prosecution just admitted, as you heard, that the defense did not get a chance to depose Jeffrey. And as a result of that, all this testimony is brand new, not disclosed previously to the defense, which could be a Brady violation, discovery violation, etc., etc. So let's see how this unfolds.
I would just, if the state's going to move on, I don't think we need to inquire further.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Should I get the witness, Judge?
One moment, briefly, so the record is clean on this topic. I will find there has been a discovery violation with regard to the testimony of Jeffrey Lacasse on the subject matter of what was discussed with Wendy Adelson concerning any issues as to the children's memories. I will find this was inadvertent, as there have been, I believe this Kappelman is the 5th or 6th trial in this.
Only the 4th, Judge.
Excuse me. The 4th trial that has occurred under this set of facts, and there has been a multitude of discovery or interviews or depositions of this witness, but specifically as to this defendant being able to depose this witness on this topic, that did not take place by prior counsel or current counsel. I will find it is trivial, and it has not had a prejudicial effect on the ability of the defense to prepare, since the state is conceding the matter, and no further examination on this topic will take.
But the prosecution needs to tread lightly. They need to be very careful. They are holding all the cards, and to throw it all away on an accidental, question or whatever you want to call it is completely unnecessary. Completely unnecessary. And so far, I think you all can tell, I, being a criminal defense attorney, a lot of people think like, oh, you're going to take the defense's side 100 times out of 100. Have you seen my videos on this case so far? If you haven't, go check them out. I've done the prosecution's opening across 3 videos, and I've done the defense's opening in 1 video because it was shorter. I am with the prosecution on this one. Just because I'm a criminal defense attorney doesn't mean I'm going to take a criminal defense attorney's side 100 times out of 100. Sometimes you're going to look at a case and you're going to go, yeah, the defense has nothing. And so far I'm looking at the defense and I'm like, you got nothing. I'm on the prosecution side. I think Donna did it. I think Donna's guilty. I don't know if I've said it yet before, but I'm saying it now. My opinion has been formed after opening statements, which, by the way, also goes to show that your opinion will form after opening statements as a juror. That's how powerful and important opening statements are. And if I was on this jury, I'm thinking she did it just after openings are concluded, before any witness takes the stand. That the facts are just that damning, and the defense had no outs for the most crucial elements, like the bump, the flight to Vietnam, the checks being written with her signature on them. Like these things you can't escape. Facts are facts. So she's at least guilty of the conspiracy. There's no way she was completely blindsided and had no idea what was going on. It was right under her nose, especially with her controlling nature. This is wild. So to have a minuscule discovery violation that could unravel the entire trial, and I say minuscule, I actually mean the opposite. It can be huge, and it could theoretically blow up the entire trial, but the prosecution admitted it. They said that it was inadvertent, but it can unravel an entire trial. It could lead to a mistrial. They may have to try the case over. Sometimes the judge can issue a directed verdict. Remember, very simply, all you have to remember is Alec Baldwin. Remember what happened in Alec Baldwin? Now, that discovery violation was not minuscule by any stretch of the imagination. That was intentional, not inadvertent. It was directly, like the prosecutor had her hands on the bullets, and she stored them away in a different file. Now, you want to tell me that was an accident? Bullschlacha. You know what I'm saying? So that's why the judge in that case dismissed the charges against Alec Baldwin. Just threw the case out after 3 days of testimony. That's wild. And that could theoretically happen in this case. So the prosecution needs to tread very lightly, very, very carefully. That's pretty big.
Place. The court will give a curative instruction to the jury for them to disregard and not consider as evidence in this matter any testimony that has taken place concerning a conversation between Wendy Adelson and Jeffrey Lacasse as to the children's memories. You may bring in the witness.
Curative instruction, even though it sounded like they weren't asking for it, and it sounds like they're in agreement with that procedure.
That's correct, Your Honor.
I wouldn't know why you have an adverse.
Well, there could be an argument that it draws more attention to the information, so I just wanted to make sure that their agreement was clear for the record.
Mr. Zelvin, do you wish to have the curative or do that?
The proposed curative is acceptable, Your Honor.
Very well. Everyone
Jury comes
can be
back in.
seated. Members of the jury, before the examination of this witness continues, I am going to give you a brief instruction. The last objection that was raised by the defense, it is being sustained. You are to disregard any testimony that has taken place by this witness concerning the issues of any statements or any conversation he had with Wendy Adelson about her children's memories. You are not to consider this as a part of the evidence in this case. You may continue with your examination.
Thank you, Judge. Around this same time frame, I guess we're talking about maybe March of 14, somewhere in there, did Wendy Adelson, actually strike that. I'm going to move on to the coffee shop meeting. You familiar with that?
The June 4th coffee shop?
Yes, sir. June 4th, 2014. Did you have plans prior to that meeting to travel with Wendy Adelson over the time frame in which Dan Markel was ultimately killed?
Yeah, that's right. And on June 4th, I had planned to see Wendy and the kids at her house that night. Middle of the day, she called me to sort of an impromptu meeting at Red Eye over on Thomasville. And she abruptly canceled our trip for reasons that didn't make much sense.
When was the trip scheduled to happen?
The 11th to the 17th.
All right, so you would have returned home actually the day before the murder
Correct.
occurred. Okay. And did she express concern about not being home in time to pick up the children?
Yeah, the reason she canceled the trip was I'm worried we're going to get
No objection to hearsay?
Sustained unless there is an exception. Ms. Callahan.
Goes to motive, Judge.
Overruled.
Don't care if they go on a trip or not. All right, sir, so the reason for not going on the trip?
The reason for not going on the trip was tied up on a couple of things. First of all the stuff going on with Danny was a constant refrain. But given the stuff going on with Danny, she was concerned that she might not be back in time, even though our flight was to land the day before. And it wasn't so odd to me. It wasn't winter. We're going through it. It's like LA to Atlanta to Tallahassee, leaving in the morning. I didn't see any real reason why that would be a problem.
She would have needed to pick up the kids on July 18th, right?
Yes, she knew that then. Their schedules were planned out for like months.
Okay, so you would have returned on the 17th, and she would have been picking up her children from preschool on the 18th.
Yeah, I think 5 p.m. on the 18th, which is why, I didn't object. I just said okay. I didn't make a thing out of it, but it didn't make any sense.
Okay. And that, just for clarification, that conversation occurred on June 4th.
It did.
Okay, when was the next time you saw her after that coffee shop meeting?
Yeah, so that was mid-afternoon, and in the evening, I had plans to go see her and spend time with her and the kids. And then she had contacted me that she wasn't feeling well and I should rush over there, essentially. She had a stomach problem, so I got there as quickly as I could.
All right, so did you go to her residence that evening?
I did.
And what happened when you got there?
Well, on the way there, I remember contacting her and asking her, do you want me to stop and get some stomach medicine or something like that? And didn't. I believe she told me not to. Once I got there, she hemmed and hawed a little bit, and then eventually I left because she was a complete anxious wreck. She didn't have the flu. She didn't have food poisoning. She was just a nervous, anxious wreck, and it was affecting her stomach. So after a little while, I drove to a nearby convenience store to go get her Pepto-Bismol, which I recall because I have a credit card receipt from this random convenience store a few miles from her house.
All right, so she was a nervous wreck that night, and did she tell you what the problem was or not?
Yeah.
No, there's no discernible. I couldn't figure it out. She didn't tell me.
Oh, that is huge. That is huge because we all know why she was a nervous wreck. And by the way, can somebody tell me why Wendy hasn't been charged? Why does she have immunity? Why does she not have charges looming against her? Isn't she the direct ex-wife of Danny who was murdered? Why are they going after everybody else but not Wendy? Oh, I can't wait to start her testimony and that's going to be tomorrow. And like I said, the videos are going to be much longer. So be on the lookout for those, folks. I'm going to stop it right here. We're going to continue Jeff's testimony tonight. So be on the lookout, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Be on the lookout for it, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, everybody.